Good morning, super sparkly sapphires. It's Wednesday, so it's time for Agenda on Gaga's deck. Today is Wednesday, April 8th, 2020. We'll begin with Mindful Minute like always, so find a comfy position in 5, 4, 3, 2, wonderful. Today is the 130th day of school. How do we write 130? 100, 3 tens, and 0 ones. 130. 100, 110, 120, 130. On Wednesdays, we count by 8s, 9s, and 10s. You might remember counting by 8s from our kicking counting that goes 8, 16, 24, 32. Well, we're going to go a little bit past 32. Ready? Starting on 8. 8, 16, 24, 32. So if you're at 32, how do you add 8 more? Maybe you know that 2 plus 8 more is 10. So if you're at 32 and you add 8 more, you just go to the next 10 after 30, which is 40. So it goes 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, and what's 8 more than 40? I hope you said 48, because 40 plus 8 is 48. 48. Counting by 9s is my favorite because the numbers go diagonally across the number wall, and the 10s digit goes up by 1, and the 1s digit goes down by 1 each time. Starting on 9. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, and 81. Some of this skip counting can be pretty tricky, but 10s are easy because we've had so much practice. When you count by 10s, you start with 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And if you want to go backward, you just go up. 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Remember, you don't have to start at 10 when you're counting by 10s. If you start at 6, you just go straight down the same way. 10 more is 16, 10 more is 26, 36, 46, 56, and we'll stop at 66. Speaking of 10s, I have a coin. It's tiny and it's dimey. It's a tiny 10, a dimey 10. It's a dime and it's worth 10 cents. So if you have a bunch of dimes, you count by 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. That's 100 cents. And it's also the same as $1. Today for Wonder Wednesday, I wonder what's in your yard. I have lots of birds in my yard. I asked you yesterday to write about your yard for Topic Tuesday. So today we're going to make a bar graph. I want to know if you have trees in your yard, if you have grass in your yard, if you have a deck in your yard, and if you have any cement in your yard. So have a grown-up tell me which of those things are in your yard. Today for Things with Wings, we are reading a story called Eliza and the Dragonfly. The author is Susie Caldwell Reinhardt, and the illustrator is Anissa Claire Hovman. There's a dragonfly in my house. It flew in the window and landed on my toothbrush. I have to tell Aunt Doris. My Aunt Doris loves bugs, and spiders, and bees, and ants. She uses words like magnificent when she sees things that sting and soar. Aunt Doris is an entomologist. That's somebody who studies insects. She loves to go to the pond near my house to watch bugs. Magnificent, Aunt Doris says when she sees the dragonfly in my house. This one belongs at the pond. So I hop on my bike and Aunt Doris hops on her bugsicle and we ride to the pond. The dragonfly holds on tightly. I carry it like it's the most precious gift in the world. A great blue heron wades silently through the lilies. Have you seen a great blue heron before? I've seen lots of them around here. Aunt Doris walks along the water's edge, holding her net high like a kite. Dragonflies zoom faster than birds over the smooth surface of the pond. My toothbrush dragonfly rushes to join them. I make a wish on every dragonfly I see. I wish I could fly as fast as a dragonfly. I wish I could ride my bike anywhere I wanted. I wish it didn't take so long to grow up. Kersploosh! Aunt Doris slips and falls in the pond. The great white egret pumps her wings and flies away. A frog hops out of Aunt Doris's pocket. Fish and leaves drip from her hair, but Aunt Doris doesn't mind. She never minds what she looks like. That's what I like about Aunt Doris. Then an awful green creature the size of a paperclip swims out of her boot. She scoops it into her hand. Ew, I say. Magnificent, Aunt Doris says. What is it, I ask. It's a young dragonfly, Eliza. It's called a nymph. Can you say nymph? Aunt Doris says as she lets the creature go. What's a dragonfly doing underwater, I say. Dragonflies begin their lives in water, explains Aunt Doris. When they're young, they breathe water instead of air, and they swim instead of fly. Let's make a water scope so you can see for yourself. Aunt Doris digs into her backpack and finds an empty juice container. She cuts off the top and the bottom. Then she takes the clean plastic wrap off her sandwich and spreads it over one end of the container. A big rubber band holds the plastic wrap in place. Ta-da! A water scope, says Aunt Doris. She shows me how to look through the scope underwater. Wow, there's an amazing wiggling world down there, I gasp. Can you see the dragonfly nymph? I think so, but it doesn't look like a dragonfly. Where are its wings, I wonder? Look closer, Aunt Doris says. I see 4 tiny wings, like flower petals, folded onto the dragon's back. When will it know how to fly, I ask. Eliza, Aunt Doris smiles, a dragonfly nymph doesn't worry about when it will grow up and become a dragonfly. It doesn't wish it could fly or be more beautiful than it already is. It just mucks about in the pond, being itself. Then it wakes up one morning with wings. So every day after school, Aunt Doris and I go to the pond. We take turns looking through the water scope to find the dragonfly nymph. Aunt Doris wants to name it Bo because she thinks it's beautiful. I think it looks more like a Horace. I wish I could see Horace hatch into a dragonfly. I wish I could watch Horace crawl up a long blade of grass, the way Aunt Doris says he will, unfold his wings and fly away. For now, he lies very still in the shallow water. Horace doesn't know how to fly yet. Horace has a gift, a lower lip, 5 times the size of his head, with giant hooks on the end. It tucks away neatly until a small insect swims by. Then it's dinner time. Ew, I say. What do you think Aunt Doris says? Magnificent. Sometimes I bring my colored pencils and paper to the pond and draw Horace. He looks at me with his half smile. I tell Horace that soon he'll be able to breathe air instead of water. I tell him that soon he'll be able to fly faster than a swallow. And I tell him other things too, like how I wish I was taller and had straight blonde hair, and how I wish I could paint beautiful pictures that the whole world would come to see. Horace stares at me like he's trying to tell me something. But Horace still doesn't know how to fly. Sometimes my friends Carlos and Annie come to the pond with me after school. Horace loves an audience. He glides around on the bottom of the pond as if he were dancing. Cha-cha-cha, Horace! Carlos is teaching Horace to speak Spanish. Horace's eyes grow wide and it looks like he's listening really hard. Hola, Horace. Can you imagine a dragonfly learning to speak Spanish? That's fiction. Annie takes out her recorder and plays Horace a tune. Do, re, mi, Horace. But Horace still doesn't know how to fly. I'll bet he wishes he could fly, Annie says. Horace doesn't wish he could fly or be more beautiful than he already is, I say, and Aunt Doris smiles. Oh no, Horace is gone, Carlos says when he lowers the scope into the water. Gone? Let me look, I say. Through the water scope, I see pollywogs and fish, but no Horace. I move the scope up and down and back and forth, and still no Horace. Aunt Doris, where is he, I say? Do you know where Horace is? What do you think? Here he is, Aunt Doris waves us over excitedly. On a tall plant stem rising out of the water, Horace climbs out of the pond for the first time. There he is. What's happening? Asks Eliza. Horace is going to hatch, Aunt Doris whispers. We all lie down in the grass to watch. At first, nothing happens. The wind swings the stem back and forth. Horace holds on like it's the only solid thing in the world. Then he takes his first breath of air. It moves through his body and cracks his shell open. Slowly, so slowly, Horace slides out of his shell like he is slipping out of a sleeping bag. First, his eyes appear. Then his slender body, and finally his wings. I hold my breath. He does not move. Horace's wings lie wrinkled across his back. Is he okay? I ask. Don't worry, he's pumping up and drying his wings. When it's time, he'll zoom away and eat bugs for dinner, Aunt Doris says. Ew, Carlos says. Then the sun touches Horace's eyes and we see that they are a brilliant green. The sun touches Horace's soft, wet wings and they glow like they are made of tiny stained glass windows. And guess what Aunt Doris says? Magnificent. Ouch! Carlos slaps his neck and shouts, Mosquitoes! There are mosquitoes everywhere. They bite my ankles, they bite my arms, and they bite the soft places behind my knees. That's called the popliteal fossa, by the way. Carlos spins around in circles, then falls down dizzy. Annie flaps her arms like she's trying to fly away. I shake my whole body like a wet dog, but the mosquitoes keep whining and buzzing. Suddenly, the buzzing stops. It's very quiet. No mosquitoes bite my knees. No mosquitoes bite my neck. There are hardly any mosquitoes at all. What do you think happened? Look, Carlos and Annie say at the same time. A liquid blue dragonfly with stained glass wings silences the pond, one mosquito at a time. Maybe I should get a pet dragonfly to eat all the mosquitoes. Horace, Aunt Doris says. Magnificent, I say. Horace ate all the mosquitoes. Today for literature response, draw a picture about Eliza and her dragonfly Horace and tell me something that you learned about dragonflies.